You would think that Mario Kart Deluxe is my favorite Nintendo Switch game of 2017, but actually... Yeah, no, you're right, it is. But Super Mario Odyssey did give it a run for its money. Both of them are fantastic games, but in the end, not only does Mario Kart 8 have so much more replayability that I compact to it more than Odyssey, but also I have the most hours on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe than any other game on my Switch. Therefore, it only makes sense that it's my #1 choice for Switch game of 2017. As you can see in the corner of your screen, I also have my top 5 Nintendo Switch games that released in 2017 that I've played on the bottom corner of the screen. If you want to see me go deeper into the entire top 5 list as opposed to just my top 1 for each year, then leave a comment. Let me know which year you are most intrigued by. I mean, is there really anything else I need to say about Mario Kart Deluxe at this point? I mean, it is the best selling game on the Nintendo Switch for a reason. The game just will not die. I mean, before the Booster Course Pass DLC, there were already 48 tracks, the most in any Mario Kart game at that time, and 42 characters. Now that the DLC is done, we have 49 characters and a whopping 96 courses. That creates endless replayability. I always come back to this game and I honestly believe that it is peak Mario Kart, but it's still insane to me that this game came out during the first month of the Switch's release. And honestly, it still holds up. Before moving on to 2018, I just want to give a huge shout out to Super Mario Odyssey. Honestly, if it released any other year, it would have been #1 on that list. But unfortunately, it just had to compete with Mario Kart. But guys, if you are a big fan of Mario and just open world 3D platformers, this is the game for you. You cannot miss it. It is one that I would highly recommend. It gives such a breath of fresh air to 3D platformers. For the same reasons as Mario Kart being #1 in 2017, I have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as my #1 Switch game from 2018, and it just barely qualified for this year, having released in December of 2018. Smash Ultimate is another one of those games that has an insane amount of content and has stood the test of time. I mean, never in my life have I seen a game with 86 characters, 103 stages, each of them with 3 variants, over 1,000 pieces of music, and just so many extra side modes, including a Road of Light story mode, your classic mode, a tournament mode, online arenas, the ability to train your amiibo, and so much more. Every single time you play this game, something new is bound to happen, whether you play as a character you haven't played before, or you play against a character you've never played against before, or you team up with a character you never played against before, or just the matchup is a combination of characters on a stage that has never happened before. The amount of replayability this game and the combinations of characters and stages together is clearly almost infinite, it seems. I will be honest in saying that whenever I'm trying to pick a character, there are times where I just get a little overwhelmed because of how expansive and massive the character roster is. But luckily for us people that can't make decisions, there is an option to pick random for both your character and your stages to make things interesting. While there were other games this year that I've played that had a beautiful single player campaign and an emotional story mode, while also having some multiplayer games that were a blast to play, I can't lie, the beautiful combination of quality and quantity that Smash Ultimate brings to the table makes it the clear choice for my #1 game of 2018 on the Nintendo Switch. 2019 was a little bit of an odd year for my gaming experience on the Nintendo Switch. There was no big crazy multiplayer game that came out that sucked away at all my time, so that allowed some single player games to take center stage this year. I continued to step out of my Mario comfort zone to try to find other games that I think I might enjoy, and boy oh boy did I find a hidden gem this year. That's right, my #1 Switch game for 2019 has to be Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. Now, I know this game technically came out in 2015 as an Xbox exclusive, but it released in 2019 on the Nintendo Switch under this Definitive Edition package, making it eligible for this year for me. I was hooked from the very beginning. The combination of Gareth Coker's incredible music plus the absolutely heartbreaking story that opens the game makes you invested in Ori's mission immediately and made me want to play the game. This game is also the first true Metroidvania that I played to completion. With these types of games, I normally get overwhelmed with the skill tree and the progression system in these types of games, but however, Ori made it very simple and easy to understand for me. The only gripe that I have against this game is that my save file will forever be at 99% because of the huge expansive map. There is one corner in one area of the map that is forever blocked off to me because I did not explore it in time before there was a timed event that happened, and therefore I cannot explore this one tiny corner that's literally just a jump's width that will forever lock down that one section of the map, and I can't access it, therefore rendering my entire save file as 99%, and it kind of bugs me to this day, but not enough to take it away from the #1 spot. Besides Ori though, we did have some pretty great games in 2019. For example, I was so close to putting Ring Fit Adventure at #1 because my goodness, it was such a fun game. I actually had a blast playing that game and using it to work out and do various bodyweight exercises that I've never done before, and yeah, I pretty much completed the game. Also, Mario Maker 2 will always be a classic, and it's always fun to play everyone's levels, but it just wasn't enough to take the top spot for me in 2019. And I also did play Cuphead and Tetris 99 that year. Both were incredible games, so overall 2019 was a pretty solid year for gaming for me. 2020, just like the year itself, was pretty much a garbage year in terms of gaming experiences for me. The fact that I have to put Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise as my #2 game from 2020 is honestly kind of sad. Spots 3, 4, and 5 this year are occupied by Mario games, but none of them are actually true Mario games, with one of them being a bare bones collection of 3 3D Mario games, one of them being a spin-off to a spin-off series already, and the other one already having its online services shut down like 3 years ago, so you can't even play it anymore. So what's #1 this year? Well, without a doubt, it is the sequel to the game that I just talked about in 2019. I'm talking Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This game released on Switch about 6 months after it came out on Xbox, but oh boy, was it worth the wait. This game took everything the first game brought to the table and made it so much better. The story was just as gripping, if not more so. The environments were just as colorful, if not even more so than the first game. I didn't even think that was possible. The exploration is incredible. It is near endless, and Ori also has a plethora of new moves that makes his abilities so much stronger than the last game. He has combat weapons like hammer and sword now. Just like with Ori and the Blind Forest, however, this is one of those games that I feel like I can only play once because I will never ever be able to rediscover this game for the first time. And I love getting that first feeling of just playing through the game and not knowing what to expect. Now that I already know what to expect with these first 2 Ori games, I won't be able to go back to it, but my goodness, those experiences will be cherished forever. I also just gotta give this game credit for being quite a bit more challenging than the first one. There's honestly some parts of the game where I struggled to get past and had no idea what I was doing, even with the Ori's brand new moves. For some reason, I would either have to backtrack and find my way to get around a section, or I would just have to cheese a section and just do it the way it was not intended, just to be able to get past it. But I gotta give the game credit for making it really tough on me to figure certain things out. Regardless, if you haven't played this game, I would say probably play Blind Forest first, but then come back and play this game because my goodness, both of these games are masterpieces and I would recommend them to anyone. As a Mario fan, 2021 was a pretty incredible year for me. As a gaming fan and Nintendo fan, 2021 was also a pretty incredible year for me. But the game I always come back to the most, even if by pure spite, is Mario Party Superstars. I can't help myself, okay? If there's any other series besides Mario Kart that practically defined my childhood, it is Mario Party. So when Nintendo announced Mario Party Superstars back in mid-2021 and I saw the gameplay bringing back the pure classic Mario Party modes from the N64 and GameCube days, I thought I'd shed a tear possibly. I don't know. When the game released, I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. The 5 N64 boards got a huge graphical upgrade. The character models looked nice and fresh. I loved the animation, and most of the 100 minigames that the game brought back were honestly bangers. That being said, however, this game got stale rather quickly. Unlike Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Smash Ultimate, there is only 5 boards and 10 characters, and this game is almost 2.5 years old. For context, Mario Party 6, a game that came out 17 years before Superstars, has 1 more character and 1 more board than Superstars does. Mario Party 5 has 10 characters, but 7 boards compared to Superstars' 5. Mario Parties 1 through 4, you know, some of those on the N64 coming out in 1999 have 6 to 8 boards per game. That is more than Superstars. And also, why does this game only have 10 characters? Literally, Super Mario Party, the previous Mario Party experience on Switch, has 20 characters, double the amount of characters that Superstars have. You could have easily brought back so many of those characters to flesh out this roster so much more. Anyways, it seems like I'm complaining a lot, but trust me, I do still really like this game, but I just know Nintendo can breathe some relevancy back into its life by just giving it some DLC. We can use some boards and we can use some characters, and those would honestly go such a long way to bring some life back into this game. Now, I must say, the one massive crutch that this game has to lean on, and is possibly the main reason why it's #1 for 2021 for me, is its native online functionality. You can play online Mario Party with this game with other people across the world. Before this game dropped, that was not possible anywhere, not even on Super Mario Party on the Switch. So that already gave this game one huge advantage despite the lack of content. And I gotta say, it is so much fun. I play sometimes with my YouTube members on stream, and it is a blast. So if you are looking for a Mario Party experience and you have some friends online that you want to play with, this is by default the one to get. Looking at my top 5 for this year, I did play Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury later, like in 2023 as opposed to 2021 when it came out, but it was still a pretty fun time, albeit when I completed them on stream was when I was able to get the most enjoyment out of them. And also, I think I had a more fun time with Mario Golf Super Rush than most did, but honestly, that's just my personal preference. But I do gotta say, the 2 non-Mario games that are on this top 5 are underrated bangers. But Animania is a ton of fun. I really do love Super Monkey Ball challenges, and it brings out a very vast variety of modes and stages for you to play. There's so much content in that game for you to handle. It is a lot of fun, and I personally enjoy it myself. But man, the other game, Tetris Effect Connected, is on another level. It honestly could have been my #1 game for 2021 if I just played it more. I didn't get a chance to play the story mode yet, and I haven't really gotten to mess with much of the side modes. I've really just been playing free play Tetris on this game. But man, once I get through and complete the story mode and go through the entire side modes and just immerse myself into this experience, I truly feel that this could be one of my favorite games on the entire Switch catalog. 2022 might be the worst year of the Nintendo Switch in terms of my gaming experience. And no, I'm not gonna count Mario Kart Deluxe's Booster Course Pass because the first 3 waves were dropped that year and the whole Booster Course Pass DLC got announced. So I was personally preoccupied with that. But besides that, the games were kind of rough. I legitimately struggled to come up with 5 games that I've played that released during 2022 to even make a top 5 for this year. Hell, one of those games I even played with my members for the first time myself a couple weeks ago on stream. Anyways, I know you are going to be extremely disappointed at my #1 pick for this year, but by default, it pretty much seems I have to go with Fall Guys as my top game for 2022. Before I talk about Fall Guys real quick, I just want to take a look at my top 5 games of 2022 on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, there are some big names that are not included here. I have never played Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope or Xenoblade 3, so yes, that's why those games are not on those lists. Just never played them. Legitimately, I've only played Kirby's Dream Buffet and Splatoon 3 only once this year. And my goodness, Mario Strikers Battle League was perhaps the biggest fumbling of the bag I've ever seen on any franchise ever. Man, it was so disappointing to me, but somehow that game produced one of the most popular video on this channel. I also really wanted to put TMNT Shredder's Revenge as my #1 game of 2022 this year. It would just make me feel a little bit less guilty about myself. But for the same reason as Tetris Effect Connected from 2021, I just couldn't do it because I haven't played enough of this game. I really have only played about a quarter of Shredder's Revenge, but if I ever decide to go back to this game and I end up beating the whole thing, it might very well take the top spot as my favorite Switch game of 2022. But for now, I feel like I have to justifiably so put Fall Guys as that #1 spot. Fall Guys is a very interesting game. I've always wanted to play it when it first went viral back in 2020, but I had no way to because it was only available on PS4 and PC. Thankfully, it released 2 years later on Nintendo Switch, and better yet, it is free. I didn't realize it at the time, but a competitive 3D platformer like this, where honestly the game limits you to a ceiling of how much skill you can have in this game by limiting your movement and your combat capabilities, just makes this game so much fun because it pretty much puts everyone on a level playing field, and if you lose, it's practically your fault. I've had the most fun playing Fall Guys while connecting online with my brother and cousin, doing voice chat and playing cross-platform and just entering into Fall Guys parties as squads. And so we could just go in and mess around on the levels and try to survive the longest and make it to the very end so we can win for the three of us. Those would be memories I will never forget. And because of that, I have to put Fall Guys as my #1 game on the Switch for 2022. Gee, I wonder what my #1 game for 2023 is gonna be. Yeah, it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Like, was there any ever doubt? This was a Game of the Year nominee for a reason. It not only brought back life into 2D Mario platformers, but 2D platformers as a whole. The Wonder Effect gimmick is incredible and brings a unique style to every single level. Like, each Wonder Effect is different for practically every level in the game, and that is a testament to how hard working the dev team was for making this game as incredible as it is. The new badge system also allows you to switch up your playstyle however you like. There are 24 badges in this entire game, when my personal favorite has to be the boosting spin jump, because my goodness, it grants you an extra spinning jump while you're in the air, just giving you that extra height. It is practically broken, and I love it for that. I also like that there are 12 character options you can choose in this game, and giving people the options to choose from Yoshi's and Toads and Peach and Daisy. But for some reason, despite all the character options, when it comes to Mario platformers, I like to play as the main man himself. Give it to Mario, he's the titular character for a reason. You gotta give him his flowers. Regardless, even if I don't see myself 100%ing the game again, I think it'll still be fun to go back and play some levels from time to time, because a lot of levels are really fun. This was definitely the upgrade that 2D Mario needed, and I'm very pleased with what we got from this game. Taking a look at my top 5 for 2023, you'll see that we have possibly the most diverse set of games than any other year has to offer. I am currently having a blast with Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. I bought this game when it came out, and I still haven't beat it. There are so many songs, 500 in fact, Final Fantasy songs, so for me, that was an instant buy. I also liked both Super Mario RPG and Pikmin 4. While not my style and genre of games, I'm glad I played them just so I could get some more games under my belt. Plus, I have to thank both of these games for sparking up some memes and inside jokes with me and my members, and just all of my subscribers that come through to my live streams. And lastly, F-Zero 99 is just a fun, quick fix for a racing game. Whenever I don't feel like playing Mario Kart at the time, you can just hop on some F-Zero 99 and get a race or two in real quick. Hopefully this leads to a brand new F-Zero game in the future though. These have been my favorite Nintendo Switch games that have released every year since the Switch has been out, and I want to hear your favorite Switch games ever since 2017 or whenever you got your Switch. Leave a comment on your favorite Switch games for every year. Let's have some fun discussions in the comments. Thank you to all of my members who have been honestly so incredibly supportive over the last couple of weeks and months. You guys have been so generous that it honestly blows my mind. I feel like I don't deserve people like you guys. You guys are incredible, and you truly warm my heart. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so supportive and so generous with supporting me extra. And also thank you for watching this video. If you are new here, please subscribe to this channel. Please check out another video if you haven't already. And without further ado, stay all pro. I'm out of here.